These are the words Moses addressed to all Israel across the Jordan in the wilderness, in the Arabah opposite Suph, between Paran and Topheh, Laban, Hazeros, and Dizahib. It is an 11-day journey from Horeb by way of Mount Seir to Kadesh Barnea. In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses spoke to the Israelites, in accordance with all that the Lord had commanded him to declare to them, after he had overcome Sihon king of the Amorites, who resided in Heshbon, and Og king of Bashan, who lived in Eshtaros and Edrei. On the other side of the Jordan, in the land of Moab, Moses began to clarify this law, saying, "The Lord our God spoke to us at Horeb, 'You have remained at this mountain long enough. Turn and set out on your journey, and go to the hill country of the Amorites, and to all their neighbors in the Arabah, in the hill country, in the lowlands, in the Negev, by the sea coast, the land of the Canaanites, and Lebanon, as far as the great river, the Euphrates. See, I have placed the land before you. Go in and take possession of the land which the Lord swore to give to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to their descendants after them.' At that time I said to you, 'I am not able to bear the burden of your loan. The Lord your God has multiplied you, and behold, today you are as numerous as the stars in the sky. May the Lord, the God of your ancestors, increase you 1,000 times more, and bless you, just as he has promised. But how can I alone bear the weight of your problems, burdens, and disputes? Select for yourselves wise, discerning, and respected men from each of your tribes, and I will appoint them as your leaders.' And you answered me, 'What you propose to do is good.' So I took the leading men of your tribes, wise and respected, and appointed them as leaders over you, commanders of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens, and officers for your tribes. Then I charged your judges at that time, saying, 'Hear the cases between your people and judge fairly, whether the case is between two Israelites, or between an Israelite and a foreigner residing among you. Do not show partiality in judgment. Hear both small and great alike. Do not be afraid of anyone, for the judgment is God's. Bring any case too difficult for you to me, and I will hear it.' At that time I commanded you all the things you were to do. Then we set out from Horeb and went through all that vast and dreadful wilderness that you saw, on the way to the hill country of the Amorites, as the Lord our God had commanded us, and we reached Kadesh Barnea. And I said to you, 'You have reached the hill country of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. See, the Lord your God has placed the land before you. Go up and take possession of it, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has spoken to you. Do not be afraid or discouraged.' Then all of you came to me and said, 'Let us send men ahead of us to spy out the land and bring back a report about the route we are to take and the towns we will come to.' The plan seemed good to me, so I selected 12 of you, one man for each tribe. They set out and went up into the hill country, and came to the valley of Eshcol, and explored it. Taking with them some of the fruit of the land, they brought it down to us and reported, 'The land that the Lord our God is giving us is good.' Yet you were unwilling to go up. You rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You grumbled in your tents and said, 'Because the Lord hates us, he has brought us out of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites, to destroy us. Where can we go? Our brothers have made our hearts melt, saying, "The people are stronger and taller than we are. The cities are large and fortified up to heaven. We even saw the Anakite there." I encouraged you, saying, "Do not be terrified or fear them. The Lord your God who goes before you will fight for you, just as he did for you in Egypt before your eyes." And in the wilderness, where you saw how the Lord your God carried you, as a father carries his son, all the way you went until you reached this place. Yet, despite this, you did not trust the Lord your God, who went ahead of you on your journey, to seek out places for you to camp, in fire by night and in a cloud by day, to show you the way you should go. When the Lord heard what you said, he was angry and swore an oath. "Not one of this evil generation shall see the good land I swore to give your ancestors, except for Caleb son of Jephunneh. He will see it, and I will give him and his descendants the land he set his feet on, because he followed the Lord with complete devotion." The Lord was also angry with me because of you, saying, You shall not enter it, either. Joshua, son of Nun, who stands before you, will enter it. Encourage him, for he will lead Israel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones whom you said would be taken captive, your children, who do not yet know good from bad, they will enter the land. I will give it to them, and they will take possession of it. But as for you, turn around and set out toward the wilderness, by the way of the Red Sea. Then you replied, We have sinned against the Lord. We will go up and fight, as the Lord our God commanded us. So each of you put on his weapons, thinking it easy to go up into the hill country. But the Lord said to me, Tell them, Do not go up and fight, for I am not among you, otherwise you will be defeated by your enemies. So I spoke to you, but you would not listen. You rebelled against the Lord's command, and acted presumptuously, and went up into the hill country. The Amorites who lived in those hills came out against you. They chased you like a swarm of bees, and beat you down from Seir to Hormah. You returned and wept before the Lord, but he paid no attention to your weeping, and turned a deaf ear to you. So you stayed in Kadesh many days, all the time you spent there. Then we turned and set out towards the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord had instructed me, and we made our way around Mount Seir for many days. Then the Lord spoke to me and said, You have circled this hill country long enough. Now turn north. Command the people, saying, You are about to pass through the territory of your brothers, the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir. They will be afraid of you, so be very careful. Do not provoke them to war, for I will not give you any of their land, not even as much as a footprint, because I have given Mount Seir to Esau as his possession. You are to buy food from them with money so that you may eat, and also purchase water from them with money so that you may drink. For the Lord your God has blessed you in all the work of your hands. He has watched over your journey through this vast wilderness. These 40 years, the Lord your God has been with you. You have not lacked anything. So we passed by our brothers, the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir, away from the Arabah road, away from Elath and Ezion-Geber, and we turned and traveled along the desert road of Moab. Then the Lord instructed me, Do not harass Moab or provoke them to war, for I will not give you any part of their land as a possession, because I have given Arpachshad to the descendants of Lot as a possession. The Amites used to live there, a people as great, numerous, and tall as the Anakites. Like the Anakites, they too were regarded as Rephaim, but the Moabites called them Amites. The Horites previously lived in Seir, but the descendants of Esau dispossessed them and destroyed them from before them, and settled in their place just as Israel did, in the land of their possession which the Lord gave them. And the Lord said, Now arise and cross over the Jordan valley. So we crossed the valley. The time it took for us to come from Kadesh Barnea until we crossed over the Jordan valley was 38 years, until that entire generation of fighting men had perished from the camp, as the Lord had sworn to them. Certainly the Lord's power was against them, leading to their destruction within the camp until they all perished. When the last of his fighting men among the people had passed away, the Lord communicated to me, On this day you are to pass by the region of Moab at Ar. When you come opposite the Ammonites, do not harass them or provoke them to war, for I will not give you possession of any land belonging to the Ammonites. I have given it as a possession to the descendants of Lot. That too was considered a land of the Rephaim who used to live there, but the Ammonites call them Jamjamite. A people as great, numerous, and tall as the Anakites. The Lord destroyed them from before the Ammonites, who drove the Ammonites, who drove them out and settled in their place. The Lord had done the same for the descendants of Esau, who live in Seir. When he destroyed the Horites from before them, they dispossessed them and settled in their place, where they remain even to this day. Regarding the Abubites who lived in villages as far as Gaza, the Kaputorites coming out from Kaputa overcame them and settled in their place. Set out now and cross the valley of Arnon. See, I have given into your hand Sihon the Amorite, king of Heshbon, and his country. Begin to take possession of it, and engage him in battle. This very day I will begin to put the dread and fear of you upon the faces of all the nations under heaven. They will hear reports of you, and will tremble and be in anguish because of you. From the wilderness of Kedemos I sent messengers to Sihon king of Heshbon with words of peace, saying, We request to pass through your country. We will stay on the main road. We will not turn aside to the right or to the left. You will sell us food for money so that we may eat, and give us water for money so that we may drink. Only let us pass through on foot. Just as the descendants of Esau in Seir and the Moabites in Ar allowed us, until we crossed the Jordan into the land the Lord our God is giving us. But Sihon, king of Heshbon, was not willing for us to pass through his land. For the Lord your God had hardened his spirit and made his heart obstinate, in order to hand him over to you, as he is today. And the Lord said to me, See, I have begun to deliver Sihon and his country over to you. Now begin to conquer and possess his land. Sihon then came out with all his people to meet us in battle at Jahaz. And the Lord our God delivered him over to us, and we defeated him with his sons and all his people. At that time we captured all his towns, and utterly destroyed the men, women, and children of every city. We left no survivors. We took only the livestock and the plunder from the towns we had captured. From Aroada on the edge of the valley of Arnon, and from the town in the valley, even as far as Gilead, there was no town too strong for us. The Lord our God gave us all of them. In obedience to the command of the Lord our God, you did not encroach on any of the land of the Ammonites, neither the land along the course of the Jabbok, nor that around the towns in the hills. Then we turned and went up the road towards Bashan, and Og, king of Bashan, came out with all his army to meet us in battle at Edrei. The Lord said to me, Do not be afraid of him, for I have handed him over to you, along with all his army and his land. You shall do to him as you did to Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. So the Lord our God delivered into our hands Og, king of Bashan, and all his people, and we struck them down until no survivors were left. At that time we captured all his cities. There was not a single city that we did not take from them. 60 cities, the entire region of Argob, the kingdom of Og, in Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls, gates, and bars, in addition to a great many unwalled villages. We completely destroyed them, as we had done with Sihon king of Heshbon, utterly destroying every city, men, women, and children. But all the livestock and the plunder from the cities we took for ourselves. At that time we took the land from the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, from the valley of Arnon to Mount Hermon. Hermon is called Sirion by the Sidonians, and the Amorites call it Senir. We took all the cities of the plateau, all Gilead and all Bashan, as far as Salekah and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. Og king of Bashan was the last of the Rephaim. His bed was made of iron and was more than 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. It is still in Rabbah of the Ammonites. Of the land we took over at that time, I gave the Reubenites and the Gadites the territory north of Aroer by the valley of Arnon, including half the hill country of Gilead, along with its cities. The rest of Gilead and all Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave to the half-tribe of Manasseh. The whole region of Argob in Bashan was known as the land of the Rephaim. Jeor, a descendant of Manasseh, took the entire region of Argob as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maacathites. It was named after him, so that to this day Bashan is called Habubos-Jeor. And I gave Gilead to Mashir, to the Reubenites and the Gadites. I gave the territory from Gilead to the valley of Arnon, the middle of the valley being the border, and as far as the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites. Its western border was the Jordan in the Arabah, from Chinnoris to the Sea of the Arabah, that is, the Salt Sea, below the slopes of Pisgah. I commanded you at that time, saying, The Lord your God has given you this land to possess it. All your valiant men, armed for battle, must cross over ahead of your fellow Israelites. However, your wives, your children, and your livestock, I know you have much livestock, may stay in the cities I have given you, until the Lord gives rest to your fellow Israelites, as he has to you, and they too have taken possession of the land the Lord your God is giving them, beyond the Jordan. Then each of you may return to the possession I have given you. At that time I commanded Joshua, Your eyes have seen all that the Lord your God has done to these 2 kings. The Lord will do the same to all the kingdoms into which you are going. Do not fear them. The Lord your God will fight on your behalf." At that time, I earnestly sought the Lord. "Lord God, you have begun to reveal to your servant your greatness and your mighty hand. For what God is there in heaven or on earth who can perform the deeds and mighty works you do? Please let me cross over and see the good land beyond the Jordan, that fine hill country and Lebanon." But the Lord was angry with me on account of you and would not listen to me. "That is enough," the Lord said. "Do not speak to me any more about this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah and look west, north, south, and east. Look at the land with your own eyes, since you are not going to cross this Jordan. But appoint Joshua and encourage and strengthen him, for he will lead this people across and will enable them to inherit the land that you will see." Thus, we remained in the valley opposite Beth Peor. Now, Israel, listen to the statutes and decrees I am about to teach you to follow, so that you may live and enter and take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. Do not add to the word which I command you, nor take away from it, so that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God that I am giving you. You have seen with your own eyes what the Lord did concerning Baal Peor, for the Lord your God destroyed from among you all who followed Baal Peor. But all of you who held fast to the Lord your God are alive today, every one of you. See, I have taught you statutes and decrees, as the Lord my God commanded me, so that you may follow them in the land you are entering to possess. Observe them carefully, for this will show your wisdom and understanding to the nations, who will hear about all these statutes and say, "Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." What other nation is so great as to have a God so near to them, as the Lord our God is to us, whenever we call upon him? And what other nation is so great as to have such righteous statutes and decrees as this body of laws I am setting before you today? Only be careful, and watch over yourselves diligently, so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen, or let them fade from your heart, as long as you live. Make them known to your children, and to their children after them. Remember the day you stood before the Lord your God at Horeb, when he said to me, "Assemble the people before me to hear my words, so that they may learn to revere me all the days they live on the earth, and may teach them to their children." You approached and stood at the base of the mountain, which was ablaze with fire reaching to the heavens, surrounded by black clouds and deep darkness. Then the Lord spoke to you from the midst of the fire. You heard the sound of words, but saw no form. There was only a voice. He declared to you his covenant, the 10 Commandments, which he commanded you to follow, and wrote them on 2 stone tablets. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and decrees, that you might follow them in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. Be very careful, since you saw no form on the day the Lord spoke to you at Horeb out of the fire, so that you do not become corrupt and make for yourselves an idol, an image of any shape, whether in the form of a man or a woman, or in the form of any animal on the earth, or any bird that flies in the air, or in the form of any creature that moves along the ground, or any fish in the waters below. And when you look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the heavenly array, do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshipping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heaven. But as for you, the Lord took you and brought you out of the iron-smelting furnace, out of Egypt, to be a people of his own inheritance, as you are today. The Lord was angry with me because of you, and he swore that I would not cross the Jordan and enter the good land the Lord your God is giving you as your inheritance. I will remain in this land. I will not cross the Jordan, but you are about to cross over and take possession of that good land. Be diligent not to forget the covenant of the Lord your God that he made with you. Do not create an idol in any form that the Lord your God has forbidden. For the Lord your God is a devouring fire, a God who desires exclusive devotion. After you have had children and grandchildren and have lived in the land a long time, if you then become corrupt and create any kind of idol, doing what is evil in the eyes of the Lord your God and provoking his anger, I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you today, that you will quickly perish from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You will not live there long, but will certainly be destroyed. The Lord will disperse you among the peoples, and only a few of you will remain among the nations, to which the Lord will drive you. There you will serve gods made by human hands, of wood and stone, which cannot see or hear or eat or smell. But if from there you seek the Lord your God, you will find him if you search for him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in distress, and all these things have happened to you, then in later days you will return to the Lord your God and obey his voice. For the Lord your God is a compassionate God. He will not abandon or destroy you or forget the covenant with your ancestors, which he confirmed to them by oath. Ask now about the former days, long before your time, from the day God created mankind on the earth. Ask from one end of the heavens to the other. Has anything so great as this ever happened? Or has anything like it ever been heard of? Has any other people heard the voice of God, speaking out of fire, as you have, and survived? Has any God ever attempted to take for himself one nation out of another nation, by trials, by signs and wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, or by great and awesome deeds, like all the things the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your very eyes? You were shown these things so that you might know that the Lord is God. Apart from him, there is no other. From heaven he made you hear his voice to instruct you. On earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words from out of the fire. Due to his love for your ancestors and his choice of their descendants, he brought you out of Egypt by his presence and his great strength, to drive out before you nations greater and mightier than you, and to bring you into their land, to give it to you for your inheritance, as it is today. Recognize and take to heart this day that the Lord is God in heaven above and on the earth below. There is no other. Keep his statutes and commandments, which I am giving you today, so that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may live long in the land the Lord your God gives you for all time. At that time Moses appointed 3 cities east of the Jordan, to which anyone who had killed a person could flee if they had unintentionally killed a neighbor without prior intent. They could flee into one of these cities and preserve their life. The cities were as follows: Bezah in the wilderness plateau, for the Reubenites; Ramoth in Gilead, for the Kenites; and Golan in Bashan, for the Manassites. This is the law Moses presented to the Israelites. These are the testimonies, statutes, and ordinances Moses gave them when they came out of Egypt, and were situated in the valley near Beth Peor, east of the Jordan, in the territory of Sihon king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon and was defeated by Moses and the Israelites as they came out of Egypt. They took possession of his land, along with the territory of Og king of Bashan, the 2 Amorite kings, east of the Jordan. This land extended from Aroer on the edge of the Arnon Gorge to Mount Sirion, that is, Hermon, and included all the Arabah east of the Jordan, as far as the Sea of the Arabah, below the slopes of Pisgah. Moses called together all Israel and said to them, "Hear, O Israel, the statutes and decrees I am proclaiming in your hearing today. Learn them well and be diligent to observe them. The Lord our God established a covenant with us at Horeb. It was not with our forefathers that the Lord made this covenant, but with us, all of us who are alive here today. The Lord communicated with you directly at the mountain from the midst of the fire. While I stood between the Lord and you at that time, to declare to you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid of the fire and did not go up the mountain." And he said, "I am the Lord your God, who delivered you from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a zealous God, bringing the consequences of the fathers' sins upon the children, to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who reject me, but showing love to thousands of generations of those who love me, and keep my commandments. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not consider anyone guiltless who misuses his name. Keep the Sabbath day holy, as the Lord your God has instructed you. For 6 days you shall work and complete all your tasks, but the 7th day is a day of rest, dedicated to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your ox, your donkey, or any of your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns, so that your male and female servants may rest, as you do. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and that the Lord your God brought you out of there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, the Lord your God has instructed you to keep the Sabbath day. Respect your father and your mother, as the Lord your God has instructed you, so that you may live long and that it may go well with you in the land the Lord your God is giving you. You shall not commit murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. You shall not desire your neighbor's house, his field, his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. These are the commandments the Lord proclaimed in a loud voice to your whole assembly on the mountain, from out of the fire, the cloud, and the deep darkness. And he added nothing more. Then he wrote them on 2 stone tablets and gave them to me. When you heard the voice from the midst of the darkness, while the mountain was ablaze with fire, all the leaders of your tribes and your elders approached me. And you said, The Lord our God has shown us his glory and his majesty, and we have heard his voice from the fire. Today we have seen that God can speak with man, and yet he lives. Yet now, why should we risk our lives? This great fire will consume us, and we fear that we will perish if we continue to hear the voice of the Lord our God. For who among all humanity has heard the voice of the living God speaking from the midst of the fire, as we have, and survived? Approach and listen to all that the Lord our God says. Then tell us whatever the Lord our God tells you. We will listen and obey. The Lord heard you when you spoke to me, and the Lord said to me, I have heard what these people said to you. They have done well in all that they have spoken. Oh, that their hearts would be inclined to revere me and keep all my commands always, so that it might go well with them and their children forever. Go, instruct them to return to their tents. But you remain here with me so that I may give you all the commands, decrees, and laws you are to teach them to follow in the land I am giving them to possess. So be careful to do just as the Lord your God has commanded you. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left. Follow all that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days in the land that you will possess. These are the commandments, the statutes, and the laws which the Lord your God has instructed me to teach you, so that you may observe them in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess, so that you, your children, and their descendants may fear the Lord your God by keeping all his statutes and commandments that I command you all the days of your life, and that you may enjoy long life. Hear, O Israel, and be diligent to obey, so that it may go well with you, and that you may greatly increase in a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Hear, O Israel, of the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You are to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. These commandments that I am giving you today are to be upon your hearts. Impress them upon your children. Speak of them when you sit at home, when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you rise. Bind them as a sign on your hands, and let them be as frontlets between your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates. When the Lord your God brings you into the land he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you great and splendid cities which you did not build, houses filled with all sorts of good things you did not provide, wells you did not dig, and vineyards and olive groves you did not plant. Then when you eat and are satisfied, be careful not to forget the Lord who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Worship the Lord your God and serve him only, and make your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, any of the gods of the peoples around you. For the Lord your God, who is among you, is a jealous God. Otherwise, the anger of the Lord your God will be kindled against you, and he will wipe you off the face of the earth. Do not test the Lord your God, like you did at Massah. Be sure to keep the commandments of the Lord your God and the decrees and statutes He has given you. Do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, so that it may go well with you, and that you may go in and take possession of the good land the Lord promised on oath to your ancestors, by removing all your enemies from before you, as the Lord has spoken. In the future, when your son asks you, "What is the meaning of the statutes, decrees, and laws which the Lord our God has commanded you?" tell him, "We were servants of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord delivered us from Egypt with a mighty hand. Before our eyes, the Lord performed great and terrible signs and wonders against Egypt, Pharaoh, and all his household. Yet He brought us out from there to bring us in and give us the land He promised on oath to our ancestors. The Lord commanded us to follow all these statutes and to fear the Lord our God, for our good always and for our survival, as it is today. And it will be our righteousness if we are careful to obey all this commandment before the Lord our God, just as He commanded us. When the Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering to take possession of, and drives out many nations before you, the Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, 7 nations, greater and mightier than you. And when the Lord your God delivers them over to you and you defeat them, you shall utterly destroy them, make no covenant with them, and show them no mercy. Avoid intermarrying with them. Do not give your daughters to their sons, nor take their daughters for your sons. For they will turn your children away from following me to serve other gods. Then the Lord's anger will be kindled against you, and He will quickly destroy you. This is what you shall do to them. Tear down their altars, smash their sacred stones, cut down their Asherah poles, and burn their carved images in the fire. For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be His treasured possession out of all the peoples on the face of the earth. The Lord did not choose you because you were more numerous than other peoples, for you were the fewest of all peoples. But it was because the Lord loved you and kept the oath He swore to your forefathers, that He brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of slavery, from the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Understand, therefore, that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, maintaining His covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love Him and keep His commandments. But those who hate Him He will repay to their face by destruction. He will not hesitate to repay to their face those who hate Him. So be diligent to follow the commands, decrees, and laws I give you today. If you pay attention to these laws and are careful to follow them, then the Lord your God will maintain His covenant of love with you, as He swore to your ancestors. He will love you, bless you, and increase your numbers. He will bless the fruit of your womb, the crops of your land, your grain, new wine and olive oil, the calves of your herds and the lambs of your flocks in the land He swore to your forefathers to give you. You will be blessed above all peoples. None of your men or women will be childless, nor will any of your livestock be without young. The Lord will keep you free from every disease. He will not inflict on you the dreadful diseases you knew in Egypt, but He will give them to all who hate you. You must destroy all the peoples the Lord your God delivers to you. Do not look on them with pity, and do not serve their gods, for that would be a snare to you. You may say in your heart, "These nations are greater than we are. How can we drive them out?" But do not be afraid of them. Remember clearly what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all Egypt. You witnessed with your own eyes the great trials, the signs and wonders, the mighty hand and outstretched arm with which the Lord your God brought you out. The Lord your God will do the same to all the peoples you now fear. Furthermore, the Lord your God will send the hornet among them until even the survivors who hide from you have perished. Do not be dismayed by them, for the Lord your God, who is with you, is a mighty and awe-inspiring God. The Lord your God will drive out those nations before you, little by little. You will not be able to eliminate them all at once, or the wild animals will become too numerous for you. However, the Lord your God will deliver them over to you, throwing them into great confusion until they are destroyed. He will hand their kings over to you, and you will wipe out their names from under heaven. No one will be able to stand against you. You will destroy them. The carved images of their gods, you are to burn in the fire. Do not covet the silver and gold on them, nor take it for yourselves, or you will be ensnared by it, for it is detestable to the Lord your God. Do not bring anything abhorrent into your house, or you, like it, will become set apart for destruction. Consider it as vile and utterly reject it, for it is set apart for destruction. Be diligent to observe all the commandments I am giving you today, so that you may live and multiply, and may enter and take possession of the land the Lord swore to your ancestors. And remember the entire journey the Lord your God has led you through in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble you and to test you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. He humbled you by letting you hunger, and then fed you with manna, which you nor your fathers had known, to make you understand that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of the Lord. Your clothing did not wear out, nor did your feet swell during these 40 years. Understand then in your heart that the Lord your God disciplines you, just as a man disciplines his son. Therefore, keep the commandments of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to revere him. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land with streams, fountains, and springs, flowing out in valleys and hills. A land rich with wheat and barley, vines, fig trees, and pomegranates, abundant in olive oil and honey. A land where you will eat without scarcity, where you will lack nothing. A land whose stones are iron, and from whose hills you can extract copper. When you have eaten and are satisfied, you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Be careful not to forget the Lord your God by failing to keep his commandments, his laws, and his decrees, which I am giving you today. Otherwise, when you eat and are satisfied, and you build fine houses and live in them, and when your herds and flocks grow large, and your silver and gold increase, and all your possessions multiply, then your heart will become proud, and you will forget the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. He led you through the vast and terrible wilderness with its fiery serpents and scorpions, and its thirsty ground where there was no water. He brought water for you out of the rock of flint. He fed you with manna in the wilderness, which your fathers had not known, to humble you and test you, to do you good in the end. You may say in your heart, my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. But remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth, in order to confirm his covenant, which he swore to your ancestors, as it is today. If you ever forget the Lord your God and follow other gods, serving and worshipping them, I testify against you today that you will surely perish. As with the nations the Lord destroyed before you, so you will perish, for not obeying the voice of the Lord your God. Hear, O Israel, you are about to cross the Jordan today, to enter and dispossess nations greater and stronger than you, with large cities fortified up to the heavens. The people are strong and tall, the Anakim. You know about them, and you have heard it said, who can stand up to the descendants of Anak? But understand today that the Lord your God goes before you as a consuming fire. He will destroy them and subdue them before you. So you shall drive them out and annihilate them swiftly, as the Lord has promised. When the Lord your God has driven them out before you, do not say in your heart, it is because of my righteousness that the Lord has brought me in to possess this land. Rather, it is because of the wickedness of these nations that the Lord is dispossessing them before you. It is not because of your righteousness, or the uprightness of your heart, that you are going in to possess their land. Instead, it is because of your wickedness that the Lord your God is driving them out before you, to confirm the promise he made to your ancestors, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Know, therefore, that it is not on account of your righteousness that the Lord your God is giving you this good land to possess, for you are a stiff-necked people. Remember and do not forget how you provoked the Lord your God to anger in the wilderness. From the day you left Egypt until you arrived here, you have been rebellious toward the Lord. At Horeb, you aroused the Lord's anger so that he was ready to destroy you. When I went up the mountain to receive the stone tablets, the tablets of the covenant the Lord made with you, I remained on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I ate no bread, and drank no water. The Lord gave me 2 stone tablets written with his own finger. On them were all the words the Lord had spoken to you from the fire on the mountain, on the day of the assembly. At the end of 40 days and 40 nights, the Lord gave me the 2 stone tablets, the tablets of the covenant. Then the Lord said to me, Get up and go down quickly from here, for your people whom you brought out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have quickly turned aside from the way I commanded them, and have made for themselves an idol. And the Lord said, I have seen this people, and they are indeed a stubborn people. Leave me alone, so that I may destroy them, and blot out their name from under heaven. Then I will make you into a nation stronger and more numerous than they. So I turned and came down the mountain while it was ablaze with fire, with the 2 tablets of the covenant in my hands. And I saw that you had sinned against the Lord your God. You had made for yourselves a calf idol. You had quickly turned aside from the way the Lord commanded you. So I took the 2 tablets and threw them out of my hands, breaking them before your eyes. Then I lay face down before the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights, as I had done the first time. I did not eat bread or drink water, because of all the sin you had committed, doing what was evil in the Lord's sight, and provoking him to anger. I was afraid of the fierce anger of the Lord, who was so angry with you, he was ready to destroy you. But the Lord listened to me that time also. The Lord was angry enough with Aaron to destroy him, but I prayed for Aaron at that time too. Then I took that sinful thing you had made, the calf, and burned it in the fire, crushed it and ground it to powder as fine as dust, and threw the dust into the stream that flows down from the mountain. You also provoked the Lord at Taberah, at Massa, and at Kibros Hattaabah. And when the Lord sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, Go up and take possession of the land I have given you, you rebelled against the command of the Lord your God. You neither trusted him nor obeyed him. You have been rebellious against the Lord from the day I first knew you. So I lay prostrate before the Lord those 40 days and 40 nights, because the Lord had said he would destroy you. I prayed to the Lord and said, Lord God, do not destroy your people, your inheritance, whom you redeemed through your greatness, and brought out of Egypt with a mighty hand. Remember your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Do not look on the stubbornness of this people, or on their wickedness and sin. Otherwise, the land from which you brought us will say, Because the Lord was not able to bring them into the land he promised, and because he hated them, he brought them out to kill them in the wilderness. Yet they are your people, your inheritance, whom you brought out by your great power and outstretched arm. At that time the Lord said to me, Carve out 2 stone tablets like the first ones and come up to me on the mountain, and make a wooden ark for yourself. I will inscribe on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you shattered. Then you are to place them in the ark. So I made an ark of acacia wood and carved out 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I went up the mountain with the 2 tablets in my hands. The Lord inscribed on the tablets the same words as before, the 10 commandments, which he had spoken to you on the mountain, from the midst of the fire on the day of the assembly, and he gave them to me. Then I turned and descended the mountain, and placed the tablets in the ark I had made, as the Lord had commanded me, and they remain there to this day. The Israelites journeyed from the wells of Bene, Jaakan to Mosera. There Aaron died and was buried, and Eleazar his son succeeded him as priest. From there they traveled to Kojudah, and then to Jotbata, a land with streams of water. At that time the Lord set apart the tribe of Levi to carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord to serve him and to bless in his name, as they continue to do today. This is why the Levites have no share or inheritance among their fellow Israelites. The Lord is their inheritance, as the Lord your God promised them. I stayed on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, as I did the first time, and the Lord listened to me once more. He was not willing to destroy you. The Lord said to me, Get up, lead the people on their journey, so that they may enter and possess the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. And now, Israel, what does the Lord your God ask of you but to fear the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, to love him, and to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and to observe the Lord's commandments and decrees that I am giving you today for your benefit? The heavens, even the highest heavens, the earth and everything in it, belong to the Lord your God. Yet the Lord set his affection on your ancestors and loved them, and he chose you, their descendants, above all the other nations, as it is today. Circumcise your hearts, therefore, and do not be stubborn any longer. For the Lord your God is the God of gods and the Lord of lords, the great, mighty, and awesome God, who shows no partiality and accepts no bribes. He defends the cause of the fatherless and the widow, and loves the foreigner residing among you, providing them with food and clothing. Show love to those who are foreigners, for you yourselves were foreigners in Egypt. Revere the Lord your God and serve him. Stay close to him, and make your oaths in his name. He is your praise, and he is your God, who has performed for you those great and awesome wonders you witnessed with your own eyes. Your ancestors went down into Egypt 70 in number, and now the Lord your God has made you as numerous as the stars in the sky. Love the Lord your God, and always keep his requirements, his statutes, his ordinances, and his commandments. Know this day that I am not speaking with your children, who have not known and have not seen the discipline of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his outstretched arm, and the signs he performed and the deeds he did in the midst of Egypt to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and to all his land, and what he did to the Egyptian army, to its horses and chariots, when he made the waters of the Red Sea engulf them as they pursued you, and the Lord brought lasting ruin upon them, and what he did for you in the wilderness until you came to this place, and what he did to Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab, son of Reuben, when the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them, their households, their tents, and every living thing that belonged to them, in the midst of all Israel. But it was your own eyes that saw all the great works the Lord has done. Therefore, observe all the commandments I am giving you today, so that you may have the strength to go in and take possession of the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. And so that you may have a long life in the land the Lord promised to your ancestors and their descendants, a land abundant with milk and honey. For the land you are entering to take possession of is not like the land of Egypt, from which you came, where you sowed your seed and watered it by foot, as in a vegetable garden. But the land you are crossing the Jordan to take possession of is a land of hills and valleys that receives rain from heaven. It is a land the Lord your God watches over. His eyes are continually upon it from the start of the year to its end. And it shall come to pass, if you faithfully obey the commandments I am giving you today, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and all your soul, that he will provide rain for your land in its season, both the early and late rains, so that you may gather in your grain, new wine, and olive oil. He will also provide grass in your fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Be careful, lest your hearts be deceived, and you turn away and worship other gods, and bow down to them. Then the Lord's anger will be kindled against you, and he will shut up the heavens, so that there will be no rain, and the ground will yield no produce, and you will quickly perish from the good land the Lord is giving you. Therefore, take these words of mine to heart and soul. Tie them as symbols on your hands, and bind them on your foreheads. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Inscribe them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your children may be numerous in the land the Lord promised to give your ancestors, as numerous as the days that the heavens are above the earth. If you carefully observe all these commandments I am giving you to follow, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, and to hold fast to him, then the Lord will drive out all these nations before you, and you will take possession of nations greater and mightier than you. Every place where you set your foot will be yours. Your territory will extend from the wilderness to Lebanon, and from the river Euphrates to the western sea. No one will be able to stand against you. The Lord your God will put the fear and dread of you on all the land, as he has promised you. Behold, I present to you today both a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I am giving you today, and the curse if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn aside from the way I am commanding you today by following other gods, which you have not known. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord your God brings you into the land you are entering to possess, you shall proclaim the blessing on Mount Gerizim, and the curse on Mount Ebal. Are they not across the Jordan, westward, toward the setting sun, in the land of the Canaanites living in the Arabah, opposite Gilgal, beside the great trees of Moreh? For you are about to cross the Jordan to go in and take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving you, and you shall possess it and live in it. And you shall be careful to obey all the statutes and judgments I am setting before you today. These are the statutes and decrees which you must carefully follow in the land that the Lord, the God of your forefathers, has given you to possess, for as long as you live on the earth. You shall completely destroy all the places where the nations you are dispossessing serve their gods, on the high mountains, on the hills, and under every spreading tree. Tear down their altars, smash their sacred stones, burn their Asherah poles in the fire, and cut down the carved images of their gods, eliminating their names from those places. You must not worship the Lord your God in their manner. Instead, seek the place the Lord your God will choose from all your tribes to establish his name for his dwelling, and there you must go. Bring there your burnt offerings, sacrifices, tithes, special gifts, vowed offerings, freewill offerings, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks. There, in the presence of the Lord your God, you and your households shall eat and rejoice in all your undertakings, because the Lord your God has blessed you. You shall not do as we do here today, everyone doing what is right in their own eyes. For you have not yet reached the resting place and the inheritance the Lord your God is giving you. But when you cross the Jordans and settle in the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, and he gives you rest from all your enemies around you, so that you live in safety, then to the place the Lord your God will choose for his name to dwell, there you shall bring everything I command you, your burnt offerings, sacrifices, tithes, special gifts, and all your choice vowed offerings to the Lord. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levites from your towns, for they have no allotment or inheritance with you. Be careful not to offer your burnt offerings in any place you see. Offer them only at the place the Lord will choose in one of your tribes, and there observe all that I command you. Nevertheless, you may slaughter your animals in any of your towns, and eat as much of the meat as you desire, according to the blessing the Lord your God gives you. Both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may eat it, as if it were gazelle or deer. But you must not consume the blood. Pour it out on the ground, like water. You must not eat in your own towns the tithe of your grain, new wine, or olive oil, or the firstborn of your herds and flocks, or any of your vowed offerings, freewill offerings, or special gifts. Instead, you are to eat them in the presence of the Lord your God, at the place the Lord your God will choose you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levites from your towns, and you shall rejoice in all your undertakings. Be mindful to support the Levites, as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God enlarges your territory as he has promised, and you crave meat and say, I would like some meat, then you may eat as much of it as you desire. If the place where the Lord your God chooses to put his name is too far from you, you may slaughter animals from your herds and flocks the Lord has given you, as I have commanded you, and you may eat in your own towns as much as you desire. Consume them as you would gazelle or deer. Both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may partake. But be sure you do not consume the blood, for the blood is the life, and you must not eat the life with the meat. You must not consume the blood. Pour it out on the ground like water. Refrain from eating it, so that it may be well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is right in the sight of the Lord. But take your consecrated things and your vowed offerings, and go to the place the Lord will choose. Present your burnt offerings on the altar of the Lord your God, both the meat and the blood. The blood of your sacrifices must be poured beside the altar of the Lord your God, but you may consume the meat. Be diligent to obey all these regulations I am giving you, so that it may always be well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is good and right in the sight of the Lord your God. The Lord your God will remove the nations you are about to invade and dispossess. But when you have driven them out and settled in their land, be careful not to be ensnared by inquiring about their gods, saying, How do these nations serve their gods, we will do the same. You must not worship the Lord your God in their manner, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things the Lord hates. They even burn their sons and daughters in the fire as sacrifices to their gods. Ensure that you do all I command you. Do not add to it or take away from it. If a prophet or a dreamer of dreams arises among you and presents a sign or wonder, and the sign or wonder comes to pass, and he says, "Let us follow other gods, gods you have not known, and let us serve them," you must not heed the words of that prophet or dreamer. The Lord your God is testing you to see if you truly love him with all your heart and soul. You must follow the Lord your God and fear him, keep his commandments, listen to his voice, serve him, and hold fast to him. That prophet or dreamer must be put to death, for he has spoken against the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt and redeemed you from the house of slavery, seeking to lead you astray from the path the Lord your God commanded you to follow. Thus, you must eliminate the evil from among you. If your own brother, your son or daughter, the wife you love, or your closest friend secretly entices you, saying, "Let us go and serve other gods," gods neither you nor your ancestors have known, gods of the peoples around you, whether near or far, from one end of the earth to the other. Do not yield to or listen to them, show no pity. Do not spare or conceal them. You must certainly put them to death. Your hand must be the first against them to put them to death, and then the hands of all the people. Stone them to death, because they sought to lead you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Then all Israel will hear and be afraid, and no one will do such a wicked thing among you again. If you hear it said, in one of the towns the Lord your God is giving you to live in, that some worthless men have arisen among you, and have led the people of their town astray, saying, "Let us go and serve other gods, gods you have not known," then you must investigate, search out, and inquire thoroughly. If it is true, and it has been proven that this detestable thing has been done among you, you must certainly put to the sword all who live in that town. Destroy it utterly, both its people and its livestock. Gather all the plunder of the town into the middle of the public square, and burn the town and all its plunder as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God. It shall remain a ruin forever, never to be rebuilt. Nothing that is designated for destruction should remain in your hands, so that the Lord may turn from his fierce anger and show you mercy, and have compassion on you and increase your numbers, as he promised on oath to your ancestors. If you obey the Lord your God by keeping all his commandments that I am giving you today, and doing what is right in the sight of the Lord your God, you are the children of the Lord your God. You shall not cut yourselves or shave a bald spot on your forehead for the dead. For you are a holy people to the Lord your God, and out of all the peoples on the face of the earth, the Lord has chosen you to be his treasured possession. You shall not consume anything considered detestable. These are the animals permitted for you to eat: the ox, the sheep, the goat, the stag, the gazelle, the roebuck, the wild goat, the ibex, the antelope, and the mountain sheep. You may eat any animal that has a divided hoof, and choose the cud. However, among those that chew the cud or have a divided hoof, you may not eat the camel, the rabbit, or the hyrax. Although they chew the cud, they do not have a divided hoof. They are unclean for you. The pig is also unclean for you. It has a divided hoof but does not chew the cud. You shall not eat their meat or touch their carcasses. Of all the creatures living in the water, you may eat anything that has fins and scales. But anything lacking fins and scales should not be eaten. It is unclean for you. You may eat any bird that is considered clean, but these you shall not eat: the eagle, the vulture, and the buzzard, the red kite, the black kite, any type of falcon, any species of raven, the ostrich, the owl, the seagull, and any kind of hawk, the various owls, the pelican, the osprey, the cormorant, the stork, any variety of heron, the hoopoe, and the bat. All flying insects are considered unclean for you. Refrain from eating them. But you may eat any clean-winged creature. You shall not eat anything that dies of itself. You may give it to the foreigner residing in your towns, and they may eat it, or you may sell it to a foreigner, for you are a holy people to the Lord your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. You shall certainly set aside a tenth of all that your fields produce each year. Consume the tithe of your grain, new wine, and olive oil, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks in the presence of the Lord your God at the place He will choose as a dwelling for His name, so that you may learn to revere the Lord your God always. But if the place is too distant, and you have been blessed by the Lord your God, and cannot carry your tithe, because the place where the Lord will choose to put His name is too far away, then convert your tithe into silver, and take the silver with you and go to the place the Lord your God will choose. Use the silver to buy whatever you desire, cattle, sheep, wine, or other strong drink, or anything you wish. Then you and your household shall eat there in the presence of the Lord your God, and rejoice. And remember the Levites living in your towns, for they have no allotment or inheritance of their own. At the end of every 3 years, gather all the tithes of that year's produce, and store it in your towns, so that the Levites who have no share or inheritance of their own, along with the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who reside in your towns, may come and eat, and be satisfied. In this way the Lord your God will bless you in all the work of your hands. At the conclusion of every 7 years, you shall provide a remission of debts. This is the manner of the release. Every creditor shall forgive what he has lent to his neighbor. He shall not demand it from his fellow Israelite, for the Lord's time of release has been proclaimed. You may demand payment from a foreigner, but you must forgive whatever your brother owes you. There should be no poor among you, for the Lord will bless you in the land that He is giving you as an inheritance to possess. If only you carefully listen to the voice of the Lord your God, and observe all these commandments that I am giving you today, the Lord your God will bless you, as He has promised, and you will lend to many nations but will not borrow. You will rule over many nations, but they will not rule over you. If there is a poor person among you, one of your fellow Israelites, in any of the towns of the land that the Lord your God is giving you, do not harden your heart or close your hand against your poor brother. Instead, open your hand freely to him, and lend him whatever he needs. Be careful not to harbor this wicked thought. The 7th year, the year of release, is near, so that you show ill will towards your needy brother and give him nothing. He may then appeal to the Lord against you, and you will be guilty of sin. You shall give generously to him, and your heart shall not be grudging when you give to him, because for this, the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in all that you undertake. For the poor will never cease to be in the land. Therefore I command you to open your hand freely to your brother, to your needy and poor in your land. If your fellow Hebrew, a man or a woman, is sold to you and serves you for 6 years, then in the 7th year you must let them go free. And when you set them free, do not send them away empty-handed. Provide them generously from your flock, your threshing floor, and your winepress. Give to them as the Lord your God has blessed you. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. That is why I am giving you this command today. But if your servant says to you, I will not leave you, because he loves you and your household, and is well off with you, then take an awl and pierce it through his ear into the door, and he shall be your servant for life. Do the same for your female servant. Do not consider the hardship to set your servant free, because their service to you these 6 years has been worth twice as much as that of a hired worker. The Lord your God will bless you in all that you do. Consecrate to the Lord your God all the firstborn males of your herds and flocks. Do not work with the firstborn of your cattle, nor shear the firstborn of your cattle. You and your household shall eat them each year, in the presence of the Lord your God at the place He will choose. If an animal has any defect, is lame or blind, or has any serious flaw, you must not sacrifice it to the Lord your God. You may eat it within your towns. Both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may eat it, as if it were gazelle or deer. But you must not consume the blood. Pour it out on the ground like water. Keep the month of Abib and honor the Passover to the Lord your God, for it was in the month of Abib that the Lord your God led you out of Egypt by night. Sacrifice the Passover to the Lord your God from your flock or herd, at the place the Lord chooses to establish His name. Do not eat it with leavened bread. For 7 days eat unleavened bread, the bread of affliction, because you left Egypt in haste, so that you may remember the day of your departure from Egypt all the days of your life. Let no leaven be found with you in all your territory for 7 days. Do not let any of the meat you sacrifice on the evening of the first day remain until morning. You must not sacrifice the Passover in any of the towns the Lord your God gives you, but only at the place the Lord your God will choose to establish His name. There you shall sacrifice the Passover in the evening, at sunset, at the time of your departure from Egypt. Roast and eat it at the place the Lord your God will choose. Then in the morning return to your tents. For 6 days eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day hold a solemn assembly to the Lord your God. Do no work. Begin counting 7 weeks from the time you start to harvest the standing grain. Then observe the festival of weeks to the Lord your God by presenting a freewill offering in accordance with the blessings the Lord your God has given you. Rejoice before the Lord your God, you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, the Levites in your towns, and the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows living among you, at the place the Lord your God will choose to establish His name. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and carefully follow these decrees. Celebrate the festival of booths for 7 days after you have gathered the produce of your threshing floor and your winepress. Rejoice at your festival, you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levites, the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your towns. For 7 days, celebrate the festival to the Lord your God, at the place the Lord will choose. The Lord your God will bless you in all your harvest and in all the work of your hands, and your joy will be complete. 3 times a year all your males must appear before the Lord your God at the place He will choose, at the festival of unleavened bread, the festival of weeks, and the festival of booths. No one should appear before the Lord empty-handed. Each of you must bring a gift in accordance with the way the Lord your God has blessed you. Appoint judges and officials for each of your tribes in every town the Lord your God is giving you, and they shall judge the people with righteous judgment. Do not pervert justice or show partiality. Do not accept a bribe, for a bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and distorts the words of the righteous. Pursue justice and only justice, so that you may live and possess the land the Lord your God is giving you. Do not plant an Asherah pole of any kind of tree beside the altar of the Lord your God, which you shall make for yourself. And do not set up a sacred stone, for these the Lord your God hates. Do not sacrifice to the Lord your God an ox or a sheep that has any defect or flaw, for that would be detestable to Him. If a man or woman among you in any of your towns that the Lord your God is giving you is found doing evil in the sight of the Lord by transgressing His covenant, by going and serving other gods and bowing down to them, whether to the sun or moon or the host of heaven, which I have not commanded. Oko in zamano en osuya intiji, en osuitanin ste osuya intiji, mande yene kireshua osuya osumen tudio, and it is told to you. In the inste osuye sura, in also in zamano intiji, it is proven true, that in minzama osuye in true, if it is proven true that such a detestable thing has been done in Israel, then bring out your gates, the man or woman who has done this evil deed, and stone them to death. On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, the one deserving death is to be put to death. No one shall be put to death on the testimony of a single witness. The hands of the witnesses must be the first to carry out the execution, and afterward the hands of all the people. You must purge the evil from among you. If a case arises that is too difficult for you to judge, whether bloodshed, lawsuits, or assault, within your gates, then you must go up to the place the Lord your God will choose. Go to the Levitical priests, and to the judge, who is in office at that time, Inquire of them, and they will declare to you the legal decision. You must act according to the decision they give you at the place the Lord chooses. Be careful to do all that they instruct you. Follow the law they teach you and the decision they pronounce. Do not turn aside from what they tell you, either to the right or the left. Anyone who arrogantly refuses to listen to the priest who stands to minister before the Lord your God, or to the judge, must be put to death. You must purge the evil from Israel. Then all the people will hear and be afraid, and will not act arrogantly again. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, and have taken possession of it and settled there, and you say, "Let us appoint a king over us like all the nations around us." You must appoint a king over you whom the Lord your God chooses. He must be one of your fellow Israelites. You must not place a foreigner over you, one who is not your brother. The king must not acquire many horses for himself, or send people to Egypt to get more, since the Lord has said to you, "You must never go back that way again." He must not take many wives, or his heart will be led astray, nor shall he accumulate large amounts of silver and gold. When he takes the throne of his kingdom, he is to write for himself on a scroll a copy of this law, taken from the scroll kept by the Levitical priests. It is to remain with him, and he is to read from it all the days of his life, so that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, and carefully follow all the words of this law and these statutes. In this way, his heart will not be lifted up above his fellow Israelites, and he will not turn aside from the command, either to the right or to the left. Then he and his descendants will reign long in his kingdom in Israel. The Levitical priests, indeed, the entire tribe of Levi, shall have no portion or inheritance with Israel. They will live on the offerings made by fire to the Lord, for that is their inheritance. They shall not have an inheritance among their fellow Israelites. The Lord is their portion, as he promised them. This is the portion due to the priests from the people who offer a sacrifice, be it an ox or a sheep, the shoulder, the 2 cheeks, and the stomach. You shall give them the first fruits of your grain, new wine, and olive oil, and the first fleece from the shearing of your sheep. For the Lord your God has chosen them and their descendants from all your tribes to stand and minister in the name of the Lord always. If a Levite comes from any of your towns throughout Israel where he resides, and comes whenever he desires to the place the Lord chooses, he may minister in the name of the Lord his God like all his fellow Levites who stand there before the Lord. They shall share equally in the benefits, except for what they receive from the sale of family possessions. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable practices of those nations. Let no one be found among you who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, who practices divination, or sorcery, interprets omens, or engages in witchcraft, or performs enchantments, or who is a medium or spiritist, or who seeks guidance from the dead. For whoever does these things is detestable to the Lord. And because of these detestable practices, the Lord your God will drive out those nations before you. You must conduct yourselves with complete integrity before the Lord your God. The nations you will dispossess listen to soothsayers and diviners, but as for you, the Lord your God has not permitted you to do so. The Lord your God will appoint for you a prophet like me from among you, from your fellow Israelites. You must heed him. This is in accordance with what you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, "Let us not hear the voice of the Lord our God, nor see this great fire any more, or we will die." The Lord said to me, "Their words are good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their fellow Israelites, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he will speak to them everything I command him. And it shall be that whoever does not listen to my words which he speaks in my name, I myself will call to account. But a prophet who presumes to speak in my name anything I have not commanded, or who speaks in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die." You may ask yourselves, how can we recognize a message the Lord has not spoken? If what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not happen or come true, that is a message the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken presumptuously. Do not be afraid of him. When the Lord your God has cut off the nations whose land he is giving you, and you have dispossessed them and settled in their cities and houses, you shall designate 3 cities for yourself in the midst of the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess. Prepare the roads and divide the territory of your land into 3 parts, which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, so that anyone who kills a person unintentionally may flee there. This is the case concerning the one who kills another unintentionally, without prior malice, when he kills his neighbor without intent. For example, if a man goes with his neighbor into the forest to cut wood, and as he swings his axe to fell a tree, the iron head slips from the handle and strikes his neighbor, causing death, he may flee to one of these cities and live. Otherwise, the avenger of blood might pursue him in anger, overtake him, if the distance is too far, and kill him, even though he was not deserving of death because he did not harbor hatred beforehand. Therefore I instruct you to establish 3 cities for yourselves. If the Lord your God enlarges your territory, as he swore to your ancestors, and gives you all the land he promised, provided you carefully follow all these commandments I am giving you today, to love the Lord your God, and to walk in his ways always, then you shall add 3 more cities for yourself besides these 3. Do these so that innocent blood will not be shed in your land, which the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, and so you will not be guilty of bloodshed. But if someone hates his neighbor, lies in wait, assaults him and kills him, and then flees to one of these cities, the elders of his city shall send for him, and bring him back from there, and deliver him over to the avenger of blood to die. Do not show pity. You must purge from Israel the guilt of shedding innocent blood, so that it may go well with you. Do not move your neighbor's boundary stone, set by your ancestors, in the inheritance you receive in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess. A single witness is not sufficient to convict anyone accused of any crime or offense they may have committed. A matter must be established by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. If a malicious witness rises to accuse someone of wrongdoing, both parties to the dispute must stand in the presence of the Lord, before the priests and judges, who are in office at that time. The judges must conduct a thorough investigation, and if the witness is proven to be false, giving false testimony against a fellow Israelite, then you shall do to the false witness as he intended to do to his brother. You must purge the evil from among you. The people will hear of this and be afraid, ensuring that such an evil thing is not repeated among you. Do not show mercy. Life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. When you go out to battle against your enemies and see horses, chariots, and a people more numerous than yourselves, do not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt, is with you. As you are about to engage in battle, the priest shall come forward and speak to the people. He shall say, "Listen, Israel, today you are going into battle against your enemies. Do not be faint-hearted or afraid. Do not panic or be terrified of them. For the Lord your God accompanies you to fight on your behalf against your enemies, ensuring your triumph." The officers shall then speak to the people, saying, "Has anyone built a new house and not yet dedicated it? Let him go back to his house, lest he die in battle, and another man dedicate it. Has anyone planted a vineyard and not yet enjoyed its fruit? Let him return to his house, lest he die in battle, and another man enjoy its fruit. Has anyone become betrothed to a woman and not yet married her? Let him return to his house, lest he die in battle and another man marry her." The officers shall also say, "Is anyone afraid or faint-hearted? Let him return to his house, so that the hearts of his fellow soldiers will not melt like his own." When the officers have finished addressing the people, they shall appoint commanders over the army. When you approach a city to wage war against it, you shall offer it terms of peace. If it agrees to make peace with you and opens its gates, all the people found in it shall become your forced labor and serve you. But if it refuses to make peace and engages you in battle, you shall besiege it. When the Lord your God delivers it into your hands, you shall strike down all the men in it with the sword. However, the women, children, livestock, and everything else in the city, all its spoils, you may take as plunder for yourselves, and you shall use the plunder the Lord your God has given you from your enemies. This is the approach you should take with all the cities that are far from you, and do not belong to the nearby nations. But in the cities of the nations, that the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, you shall not leave anything that breathes alive. You shall completely destroy them, the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, as the Lord your God has commanded you. Otherwise, they will teach you to follow all the detestable practices they perform for their gods, and you will sin against the Lord your God. When you lay siege to a city for a long time, fighting against it to capture it, do not destroy its trees by putting an axe to them, because you can eat their fruit. Do not cut them down. Are trees of the field human, that you should besiege them? However, you may cut down trees that you know are not fruit trees, and use them to build siege works against the city that is at war with you, until it falls. If a slain person is found lying in the open country in the land that the Lord your God is giving you to possess, and it is not known who the killer is, then your elders and judges shall go out and measure the distance to the towns that are around the slain person. The elders of the town nearest to the body shall take a heifer that has not been worked and has not worn a yoke, and they shall bring it down to a valley, with a flowing stream, a place that has not been plowed or sown, and there they shall break the heifer's neck. Then the Levitical priests shall step forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to serve him and to bless in the name of the Lord, and to settle all disputes and cases of assault. All the elders of the town nearest to the body shall wash their hands over the heifer, whose neck was broken in the valley. And they shall proclaim, Our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes witness it. Forgive, Lord, your people Israel whom you have redeemed, and do not hold the guilt of innocent blood against your people Israel. Thus the guilt of bloodshed shall be forgiven them. So you shall remove the guilt of innocent blood from among you, since you have done what is right in the eyes of the Lord. When you engage in battle against your enemies and the Lord your God gives them into your hands, and you take captives, if you see among the captives a beautiful woman and are attracted to her, you may take her as your wife. Bring her into your home, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails. She shall also put aside the clothes she was wearing when captured, and remain in your house, mourning her father and mother for a full month. After that, you may go to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. If you are not pleased with her, you must let her go wherever she wishes. You must not sell her or treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her. If a man has 2 wives, one loved and the other unloved, and both bear him sons, but the firstborn is the son of the unloved wife, when he wills his property to his sons, he must not give the rights of the firstborn to the son of the loved wife, in preference to his actual firstborn, the son of the unloved wife. He must acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved wife, by giving him a double portion of all he has, for he is the first sign of his father's strength. The right of the firstborn belongs to him. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son, who does not obey his father and mother, and will not listen to them when they discipline him, his father and mother shall take him, and bring him to the elders at the entrance of his town. They shall tell the elders, This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of his town shall stone him to death. You must purge the evil from among you. All Israel will hear of it and be afraid. If a man is guilty of a capital offense and is put to death, and you hang his body on a tree, his body must not remain on the tree overnight. Be sure to bury it that same day, for anyone who is hanged is under God's curse. You must not defile the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. If you see your compatriot's ox or sheep wandering off, do not ignore it. You must certainly return it to your compatriot. If your compatriot does not live near you, or you do not know who owns it, take it to your house and keep it with you until they come to claim it. Then you shall return it. You must do the same with their donkey, their cloak, or any lost property of your compatriot that you find. Do not ignore it. If you see your compatriot's donkey or ox fallen on the road, do not ignore it. You must help them to get it back on its feet. A woman shall not wear a man's clothing, nor shall a man put on a woman's clothing, for the Lord your God finds anyone who does this detestable. If you come across a bird's nest beside the road, in a tree or on the ground, with the mother sitting on the young or on the eggs, do not take the mother along with the young. You may take the young, but you must let the mother go, so that it may be well with you, and you may have a long life. When you build a new house, you must make a parapet for your roof, so that you will not bring the guilt of bloodshed on your house, if anyone falls from it. Do not sow your vineyard with two kinds of seed, or the whole yield, both the crop you plant and the fruit of the vineyard will be defiled. Avoid plowing with an ox and a donkey harnessed together. Do not wear clothes made of wool and linen woven together. Attach tassels to the four corners of the cloak you wear. If a man takes a wife and, after being with her, turns against her, and falsely accuses her, giving her a bad name, saying, I took this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find evidence of her virginity, then the girl's father and mother shall bring proof of the girl's virginity to the elders at the city gate. The girl's father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man as a wife, but he has turned against her. Now he has accused her, saying, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin, but here is the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then they shall display the cloth before the city elders, and the elders shall take action against the man and discipline him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the girl's father, because this man has slandered an Israelite virgin. She shall remain his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. If, however, the charge is true and no proof of the girl's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her to death. She has committed a disgraceful act in Israel by being promiscuous in her father's house. You must purge the evil from among you. If a man is found lying with a married woman, both the man who lay with her and the woman must die. You must purge the evil from Israel. If a virgin pledged to be married is found in the city by another man, and he lies with her, you shall bring both of them to the city gate and stone them to death, the girl because she did not cry out for help, being in the city, and the man because he violated his neighbor's wife. You must purge the evil from among you. But if a man finds a betrothed girl in the countryside and forces her, only the man who has done this shall die. Do nothing to the girl. She has committed no sin deserving death. This case is like that of someone who attacks and murders a neighbor. For the man found her in the countryside, and though the betrothed girl cried for help, there was no one to rescue her. If a man finds a virgin who is not pledged to be married and forces her, and they are discovered, he shall pay her father 50 shekels of silver. He must marry the girl, for he has violated her. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. A man shall not marry his father's wife, for that would dishonor his father's bed. No one who has been emasculated by injury or has had his male organ removed may enter the assembly of the Lord. No one born of an illegitimate union, nor any of their descendants may enter the assembly of the Lord, even up to the 10th generation. No Ammonite or Moabite or any of their descendants may enter the assembly of the Lord, even up to the 10th generation. For they did not meet you with bread and water on your journey when you came out of Egypt, and they hired Balaam son of Beor from Pethor in Mesopotamia to curse you. Yet the Lord your God did not listen to Balaam but turned the curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loves you. You shall not seek their peace or prosperity all your days. Do not despise an Edomite, for they are your relatives. Do not despise an Egyptian, because you are a foreigner in their land. The third generation of their children, born to them, may enter the assembly of the Lord. When you set up camp against your enemies, be on guard against anything impure. If there is a man among you who is unclean due to a nocturnal emission, he must go outside the camp and not re-enter it. But when evening comes, he shall wash himself with water, and at sunset he may return to the camp. Set aside a location outside the camp for personal needs. Have a spade among your equipment. and when you relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover up your excrement. For the Lord your God moves about in your camp to protect you and to deliver your enemies to you. Therefore, your camp must be holy, so that he will not see anything indecent among you and turn away from you. If a slave seeks refuge with you, do not hand them over to their master. Let them live among you wherever they choose, in whatever town they prefer. Do not oppress them. No Israelite man or woman is to become a cult prostitute. You must not bring the earnings of a prostitute or the wages of a dog into the house of the Lord your God to fulfill any vow, for both are detestable to the Lord your God. Do not charge interest to a fellow Israelite, whether on money, food, or anything else that may earn interest. You may charge interest to a foreigner, but not to a fellow Israelite, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all that you do in the land you are entering to possess. If you make a vow to the Lord your God, do not delay in fulfilling it, for the Lord your God will surely require it of you, and you will be guilty of sin. But if you refrain from making a vow, you will not be guilty of sin. Whatever you have promised with your lips, you must be sure to do, because you made your vow freely to the Lord your God with your own mouth. If you enter your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat as many grapes as you wish, but do not put any in your basket. If you enter your neighbor's grain field, you may pick the heads of grain with your hands, but you must not use a sickle on their standing grain. When a man marries a woman, and she does not find favor in his eyes, because he has discovered some indecency in her, he may write her a certificate of divorce, place it in her hand, and send her away from his house. If she departs from his house and becomes another man's wife, and if her second husband dislikes her and writes her a certificate of divorce, places it in her hand, and sends her away from his house, or if he dies, then her first husband, who sent her away, is not permitted to take her again as his wife after she has been defiled. This would be an abomination before the Lord, and you must not bring sin upon the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance. When a man takes a new wife, he shall not go out with the army or be assigned any duty. He shall be free to remain at home for 1 year and bring happiness to the wife he has married. Do not take a handmaid or even the upper millstone as security for a debt, for that would be taking someone's livelihood as a pledge. If anyone is found kidnapping a fellow Israelite and treating them as merchandise or selling them, that kidnapper shall die. You must purge the evil from among you. Be very careful in cases of defiling skin diseases to do exactly as the Levitical priests instruct you. Follow carefully what I have commanded them. Recall what happened to Miriam by the Lord your God during your journey out of Egypt. When you make a loan of any kind to your neighbor, do not enter their house to collect a pledge. Stand outside and let the person to whom you are lending bring the pledge out to you. If the person is poor, do not sleep with their pledge in your possession. Return their cloak by sunset so that they may sleep in it and bless you. This will be considered a righteous act before the Lord your God. Do not exploit a hired worker who is poor and needy, whether they are a fellow Israelite or a foreigner residing in your towns. Pay them their wages each day before sunset, for they are poor and depend on it. Otherwise they may cry out to the Lord against you, and you will be guilty of sin. Parents shall not be put to death for their children, nor children for their parents. Each shall die for their own sin. Do not pervert the justice due to the foreigner or the fatherless, nor take a widow's cloak as a pledge. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and that the Lord your God redeemed you from there. That is why I command you to do this. When you harvest in your field, and forget a sheaf, do not return to get it. Leave it for the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. When you gather olives from your trees, do not go over the branches a second time. Leave what remains for the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow. When you gather the grapes from your vineyard, do not go over the vines again. Leave what remains for the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow. Remember that you were slaves in the land of Egypt. Therefore I command you to do this. When there is a dispute between individuals, they shall bring it to court, and the judges will decide the case, declaring the innocent righteous and the guilty condemned. If the guilty person is deserving of a beating, the judge shall make him lie down and have him flogged in his presence, with the number of lashes appropriate to his offense. The judge must not impose more than 40 lashes, so that your fellow Israelite does not become contemptible in your eyes by being beaten excessively. Do not prevent ox from eating while it is working to thresh the grain. If brothers are living together, and one of them dies without a son, the widow must not marry outside the family. Her deceased husband's brother shall marry her and perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her. The first son she bears shall carry on the name of the deceased brother, so that his name will not be erased from Israel. However, if the man does not wish to marry his brother's widow, she shall go to the elders at the town gate and say, "My husband's brother refuses to maintain his brother's name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of a brother-in-law to me." Then the elders of his town shall summon him and speak to him. If he persists in saying, "I do not wish to marry her," his brother's widow shall approach him in the presence of the elders, remove his sandal, spit in his face, and say, "This is what is done to the man who will not build up his brother's family line." His family shall be known in Israel as the house of the unsendeiled. If two men are fighting, and the wife of one intervenes to rescue her husband from his assailant, and she reaches out and seizes him by his private parts, you shall take appropriate action. Show no leniency. Do not have differing weights in your bag, one heavy, one light. Do not have differing measures in your house, one large, one small. You must have accurate and honest weights and measures, so that you may live long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. For the Lord your God detests anyone who does these things, anyone who deals unjustly. Remember what the Amalekites did to you on your journey out of Egypt. When you were weary and worn out, they attacked all who were lagging behind. They had no fear of God. When the Lord your God gives you rest from all the enemies around you in the land He is giving you as an inheritance to possess, you shall blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget, when you enter the land that the Lord your God is granting you as an inheritance, and you have taken possession of it and reside in it, you shall take some of the first fruits of all the produce from the ground that the Lord your God has given you, and place them in a basket. Then proceed to the place the Lord your God will select to establish His name. You shall approach the priest, who is serving at that time, and declare to him, "I affirm today to the Lord my God, that I have arrived in the land which the Lord swore to our ancestors to give us." The priest shall then take the basket from your hand and set it down before the altar of the Lord your God. You shall then proclaim before the Lord your God, "My father was a wandering Aramean, and he journeyed to Egypt and lived there, few in number. But there he became a great, powerful, and populous nation. But the Egyptians treated us harshly, oppressed us, and subjected us to hard labor. Then we cried out to the Lord, the God of our fathers, and the Lord heard our voice, and saw our distress, our toil, and our oppression. The Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, with great terror, and with signs and wonders. He brought us to this place and bestowed upon us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now I present the first fruits of the soil, which you, Lord, have given me. You shall place the basket before the Lord your God and bow down before Him. Then you, along with the Levites and the foreigners residing among you, shall rejoice in all the good things the Lord your God has granted you and your household. When you have completed setting aside 1/10 of all your produce in the 3rd year, the year of the tithe, you shall give it to the Levite, the foreigner, the orphan, and the widow, so they may eat in your towns and be satisfied. You shall then declare before the Lord your God, "I have removed the sacred portion from my house, and have given it to the Levite, the foreigner, the orphan, and the widow, in accordance with all your commands. I have not deviated from your commandments, nor have I forgotten them. I have not consumed any of it while in mourning, nor have I removed any of it while unclean, nor offered any of it to the dead. I have obeyed the Lord my God, and have done everything you commanded me. Look down from your holy dwelling place in heaven, and bless your people Israel and the land you have given us, as you promised on oath to our ancestors, a land flowing with milk and honey. This day, the Lord your God commands you to observe these statutes and decrees. Therefore, carefully observe them with all your heart and with all your soul. Today, you have proclaimed that the Lord is your God, and that you will walk in his ways, keep his statutes, commandments, and decrees, and listen to his voice. And today, the Lord has proclaimed you to be his people, his treasured possession, as he promised, and that you are to keep all his commandments. He has declared that he will set you high above all the nations he has made, in praise, fame, and honor, and that you shall be a people consecrated to the Lord your God, as he has spoken. Moses and the elders of Israel instructed the people, saying, "Keep all the commandments that I am giving you today. On the day you cross the Jordan into the land the Lord your God is giving you, you shall set up large stones and cover them with plaster. Inscribe on them all the words of this law when you have crossed over, so that you may enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, a land flowing with milk and honey, as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. When you cross the Jordan, set up these stones on Mount Ebal, as I command you today, and coat them with plaster. Construct an altar to the Lord your God there, made of stones, and refrain from using any iron tool on them. Construct the altar of the Lord your God with uncut stones and offer burnt offerings on it to the Lord your God. Present fellowship offerings there, partaking in them, and rejoicing in the presence of the Lord your God. Write very clearly all the words of this law on the stones you have set up." Then Moses and the Levitical priests addressed all Israel, saying, "Be silent, Israel, and listen. Today you have become the people of the Lord your God. Obey the Lord your God, and follow his commands and decrees that I am giving you today." Moses also instructed the people on that day, saying, "When you have crossed the Jordan, these tribes shall stand on Mount Gerizim to pronounce blessings upon the people: Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin. And for the curse, these tribes shall stand on Mount Ebal: Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali. The Levites shall then proclaim to all the people of Israel in a loud voice, 'Cursed is anyone who makes an idol or cast image, an abomination to the Lord, the work of skilled hands, and sets it up in secret.' Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who treats their father or mother with contempt. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who moves their neighbor's boundary marker. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who misleads a blind person on the road. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who denies justice to the foreigner, the fatherless, or the widow. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who sleeps with his father's wife, for he brings dishonor to his father's bed. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who engages in relations with any animal. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who sleeps with his sister, whether the daughter of his father or the daughter of his mother. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who has improper relations with his mother-in-law. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who attacks their neighbor in secret. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who accepts a bribe to harm an innocent person. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' Cursed is anyone who fails to uphold the words of this law by carrying them out. Then all the people shall say, 'Amen.' If you diligently obey the Lord your God, and are careful to follow all his commandments that I am giving you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the earth. All these blessings will come upon you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the countryside. Blessed will be the fruit of your womb, the produce of your ground, and the offspring of your livestock, the young of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Your basket and your kneading bowl will be favored. You will receive blessings in your comings and goings. The Lord will cause your enemies who rise up against you to be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction, but flee from you in 7. The Lord will command a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hand to, and he will bless you in the land that he is giving you. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he swore to you. if you keep the commandments of the Lord your God and walk in his ways. Then all the peoples of the earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they will fear you. The Lord will grant you great prosperity in the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground, in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his abundance, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head and not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day, and follow them carefully, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. Do not turn aside from any of the commands I am giving you today, to the right or to the left, to pursue other gods and serve them. However, if you do not obey the Lord your God, and do not carefully follow all his commands and decrees I am giving you today, all these curses will come upon you and overtake you. You will be cursed in the city, and cursed in the countryside. Your basket and your kneading bowl will be afflicted. The fruit of your womb will be cursed, and the produce of your ground, the newborn of your herds, and the offspring of your flocks. You will encounter curses in your comings and goings. The Lord will send on you curses, confusion, and rebuke in everything you undertake to do, until you are destroyed and come to sudden ruin on account of the evil you have done in forsaking him. The Lord will plague you with diseases until he has eliminated you from the land you are entering to possess. The Lord will strike you with wasting disease, inflammation, fever, feverish heat, blight and mildew, which will plague you until you perish. The sky over your head will be bronze, and the ground beneath you iron. The Lord will turn the rain of your land into dust and powder. It will come down from the skies until you are destroyed. The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will go out one way against them, but flee 7 ways from their presence, and you will become an object of horror to all the kingdoms on earth. Your carcasses will be food for all the birds of the sky and the wild animals, and there will be no one to frighten them away. The Lord will afflict you with the boils of Egypt, with tumors, festering sores, and the itch from which you cannot be healed. The Lord will bring upon you madness, blindness, and bewilderment of mind. At midday you will stumble about like a blind person in the dark. You will be unsuccessful in everything you do. Day after day you will be oppressed and robbed, with no one to rescue you. You will be pledged to be married to a woman, but another will violate her. You will build a house, but you will not live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you will not enjoy its fruit. Your ox will be slaughtered before your eyes, but you will eat none of it. Your donkey will be taken by force and will not be returned. Your sheep will be given to your enemies, and no one will rescue them. Your sons and daughters will be given to another nation, and you will wear out your eyes watching for them day after day, unable to lift a hand. A people that you do not know will consume what your land and labor produce, and you will endure nothing but harsh oppression all your days. The things you witness will drive you to madness. The Lord will afflict your knees and legs with painful boils that cannot be healed, spreading from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. The Lord will drive you and the king you set over you to a nation unfamiliar to you or your ancestors. There you will worship other gods, gods of wood and stone. You will become a symbol of horror, a byword, and an object of ridicule among all the peoples where the Lord will drive you. You will sow much seed in the field, but will harvest little, because locusts will devour it. You will plant vineyards and cultivate them, but will not drink the wine or gather the grapes, because worms will eat them. You will have olive trees throughout your country, but will not use the oil, because the olives will drop off. You will have sons and daughters, but will not keep them, because they will go into captivity. Swarms of locusts will consume all your trees and the crops of your land. The foreigners who reside among you will rise higher and higher above you, but you will descend lower and lower. They will lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the leaders, and you will follow. All these curses will come upon you. They will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the Lord your God and observe the commands and decrees he gave you. They will be a sign and a wonder to you and your descendants for all time. Because you did not serve the Lord your God with joy and gladness in the time of prosperity. Therefore in hunger and thirst, in nakedness and dire poverty, you will serve the enemies the Lord sends against you. He will place a heavy yoke on your neck until he has destroyed you. The Lord will bring a nation against you from a distant place, from the ends of the earth, like an eagle swooping down, a nation whose language you will not understand, a fierce-looking nation, without respect for the elderly or pity for the young. They will consume the young of your livestock and the crops of your land until you are destroyed. They will leave you no grain, new wine, or olive oil, nor any calves of your herds or lambs of your flocks until you are ruined. They will besiege your cities until your high fortified walls, in which you have placed your trust, fall. They will surround all the cities throughout the land the Lord your God is giving you. Because of the hardship your enemy will impose on you during the siege, you will resort to eating the fruit of your womb, the flesh of the sons and daughters the Lord your God has given you. Even the most gentle and sensitive man among you will lose compassion for his own brother, the wife he loves, and his surviving children. And he will refuse to share any of the flesh of his children that he is consuming. It will be all he has left, because of the hardship your enemy will impose on you during the siege of all your cities. The most gentle and sensitive woman among you, so delicate and tender, that she would not venture to touch the ground with the sole of her foot, will begrudge the husband she loves, and her own son or daughter, the afterbirth from her womb, and the children she bears. In her dire need, she intends to consume them secretly. Because of the hardship your enemy will impose on you during the siege of your cities. If you do not carefully follow all the words of this law, which are written in this book, and do not hold in reverence this glorious and awesome name, the Lord your God, the Lord will send dreadful plagues on you and your descendants, harsh and prolonged disasters, and severe and lingering illnesses. He will bring upon you all the diseases of Egypt that you dreaded, and they will cling to you. The Lord will also bring upon you every kind of sickness and disaster not recorded in this book of the law, until you are destroyed. You who were as numerous as the stars in the sky will be left with only a few, because you did not obey the Lord your God. Just as it pleased the Lord to make you prosper and increase in number, so it will please him to bring you to ruin and destruction. You will be uprooted from the land you are entering to possess. Then the Lord will scatter you among all nations, from one end of the earth to the other. There you will serve other gods, gods of wood and stone, which neither you nor your ancestors have known. Among those nations you will find no rest, no place of repose for the sole of your foot. There the Lord will give you an anxious mind, eyes weary with longing, and a despairing heart. You will live in constant uncertainty, filled with dread, both night and day, never sure of your life. In the morning you will say, "If only it were evening," and in the evening, "If only it were morning," because of the terror that will grip your hearts and the sights that your eyes will witness. So the Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey I said you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female servants, but no one will buy you. These are the terms of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to establish with the Israelites in the land of Moab, in addition to the covenant he had made with them at Horeb. Moses gathered all of Israel and said to them, "You have witnessed all that the Lord did in Egypt to Pharaoh, to all his officials, and to all his land. Your eyes have seen those great trials, those signs and wonders. But to this day, the Lord has not given you a mind that understands, nor eyes that see, nor ears that hear. I have led you through the wilderness for 40 years. Your clothes did not wear out on you, nor did the sandals on your feet. You have not eaten bread, nor drunk wine, or other fermented drink, so that you might know that I am the Lord your God. When you arrived at this place, Sihon king of Heshbon and Og king of Bashan came out to fight against us, but we defeated them. We took possession of their land and assigned it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Therefore observe the terms of this covenant and carry them out, so that you may prosper in everything you do. All of you are standing today in the presence of the Lord your God, your leaders, your tribes, your elders and officials, all the men of Israel, along with your children and wives, and the foreigners residing in your camps, who chop your wood and draw your water, to enter into a covenant with the Lord your God, a covenant the Lord is making with you today, and sealing with an oath, to establish you today as His people, so that He may be your God, as He promised you, and as He swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It is not only with you that I am making this covenant and this oath, but also with those who are here with us today, in the presence of the Lord our God, as well as those who are not present today. You are aware of how we lived in Egypt, and how we passed through the nations on the way here. You saw their detestable images and idols, of wood and stone, of silver and gold. And sure, there is no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turns away from the Lord our God to worship the gods of those nations. And sure, there is no root among you producing such bitter poison. When such a person hears the words of this oath and blesses themselves, thinking, I will be safe, even though I follow my own stubborn heart, it will bring disaster on the well-watered land as well as the dry. The Lord will not be willing to forgive them. His anger and zeal will burn against them. Every curse written in this book will fall upon them, and the Lord will blot out their names from under heaven. The Lord will set them apart from all the tribes of Israel for calamity, in accordance with all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. Future generations, your descendants who rise up after you, and foreigners from distant lands, will see the calamities that have befallen the land and the diseases with which the Lord has afflicted it. The whole land will be a burning waste of salt and sulfur, nothing sown, nothing sprouting, no vegetation growing on it. It will be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in fierce anger. All the nations will inquire, why has the Lord done this to this land? Why this great intensity of anger? And the answer will be, it is because this people abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their ancestors, which He made with them when He brought them out of Egypt. They went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods they did not know, and whom He had not assigned to them. Therefore the Lord's anger burned against this land, bringing upon it every curse written in this book. In His anger and fury, the Lord uprooted them from their land, and cast them into another land, as it is today. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, so that we may follow all the words of this law. When all these blessings and curses I have placed before you come upon you, and you take them to heart in all the nations where the Lord your God has scattered you, and you and your children return to the Lord your God, and obey Him with all your heart and with all your soul, according to everything I command you today, then the Lord your God will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you, and gather you again from all the peoples where He has scattered you. Even if you have been banished to the ends of the earth, from there the Lord your God will gather you and bring you back. He will bring you to the land that your ancestors possessed, and you will take possession of it. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. Moreover, the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the hearts of your descendants, so that you may love Him with all your heart and with all your soul and live. The Lord your God will inflict all these curses on your enemies who hate and persecute you. You will once more listen to the Lord and carry out all His commands I am giving you today. Then the Lord your God will make you abundantly prosperous in all the work of your hands, in the fruit of your womb, the offspring of your livestock, and the crops of your land. The Lord will again rejoice over you for good, just as He rejoiced over your ancestors. If you heed the Lord your God and uphold His commands and decrees that are written in this book of the law, and turn to the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your heart and with all your soul. For this commandment I am giving you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. It is not in heaven, so that you have to ask, who will ascend into heaven to get it and proclaim it to us so we may follow it? Nor is it beyond the sea, so that you have to ask, who will cross the sea to get it and proclaim it to us so we may follow it? No, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so you may follow it. See, I set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commands, decrees, and laws. Then you will live and increase, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and you do not obey, and if you are led astray to bow down to other gods and worship them, I declare to you today that you will certainly perish. You will not prolong your days in the land you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your descendants may love. By loving the Lord your God, listening to his voice, and holding fast to him. For the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then Moses went and addressed these words to all Israel. He said to them, I am now 120 years old. I am no longer able to lead you, and the Lord has told me, you shall not cross the Jordan. The Lord your God will cross over ahead of you. He will destroy these nations before you, and you will take possession of their land. Joshua will also cross over ahead of you, as the Lord has spoken. And the Lord will do to them as he did to Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorites, when he destroyed them and their land. The Lord will hand them over to you, and you shall do to them according to all the commandments I have given you. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be terrified of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Then Moses called Joshua and said to him in the presence of all Israel, Be strong and courageous, for you will go with this people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors to give them, and you will divide it among them as their inheritance. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. So Moses wrote this law and gave it to the Levitical priests, who carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to all the elders of Israel. Then Moses commanded them, At the end of every 7 years, during the year of debt release, at the festival of tabernacles, when all Israel comes to appear before the Lord your God at the place he will choose, you shall read this law before them, so that they may hear it. Gather the people, men, women, children, and the foreigners residing in your towns, so they may listen and learn to fear the Lord your God and carefully follow all the words of this law. Their children, who are not familiar with this law, should hear it and learn to revere the Lord your God as long as you live in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. The Lord said to Moses, The time of your death is near. Call Joshua and present yourselves at the tent of meeting, where I will commission him. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves at the tent of meeting. The Lord appeared at the tent in a pillar of cloud, and the cloud stood at the entrance of the tent. The Lord said to Moses, You are about to rest with your ancestors, and this people will soon turn to foreign gods of the land they are entering. They will forsake me and break the covenant I made with them. On that day my anger will be kindled against them, and I will forsake them and hide my face from them, and they will be consumed. Many disasters and calamities will come upon them, and they will say, Have not these disasters come upon us because our God is not with us? I will surely hide my face on that day because of all the evil they have done in turning to other gods. Now write down this song and teach it to the Israelites. Put it on their lips, so that it may be a witness for me against them. When I bring them into the land flowing with milk and honey, the land I promised on oath to their ancestors, and they eat and are satisfied and become prosperous, they will turn to other gods and worship them, rejecting me and breaking my covenant. When many disasters and calamities come upon them, this song will testify against them, because it will not be forgotten by their descendants. I know what they are inclined to do. Even before I bring them into the land, I promised them on oath. So Moses recorded this song that day and taught it to the Israelites. The Lord commissioned Joshua son of Nun, saying, Be strong and courageous, for you will bring the Israelites into the land I promised them on oath, and I will be with you. After Moses finished writing the words of this law in a book from beginning to end, he instructed the Levites, who carry the ark of the covenant of the Lord. Take this book of the law, and place it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God. There it will remain, as a testimony against you. For I know how rebellious and stiff-necked you are. If you have been rebellious against the Lord while I am still alive with you, how much more will you rebel after my death? Assemble all the elders of your tribes and your officials before me, so that I may speak these words in their hearing and call the heavens and the earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you will act corruptly and turn from the way I have commanded you. In days to come, disaster will fall on you because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger by what your hands have made. And Moses recited the words of this song from start to finish in the hearing of the whole assembly of Israel. Listen, O heavens, and I will speak. Let the earth hear the words of my mouth. May my teaching fall as the rain, my words distill as the dew, like gentle rain upon the tender grass, and showers upon the herb. For I will declare the name of the Lord, ascribing greatness to our God. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are just. A God of faithfulness and without iniquity, righteous and upright is he. They have dealt corruptly with him. They are not his children because of their blemish. They are a crooked and perverse generation. Is this how you repay the Lord, you foolish and unwise people? Is he not your father who bought you? He made you and established you. Remember the days of old, reflect on the years seen by many generations, ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they will remind you. When the Most High to the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's treasure is his people, Jacob is his chosen heritage. He found him in a desert land, in the howling waste of the wilderness. He encircled him, he cared for him, he kept him as the apple of his eye. Like an eagle that stirs up its nest, that hovers over its young, spreading out its wings, catching them, bearing them on its pinions. Kolananan led him, and there was no foreign god with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, and he ate the produce of the field. He made him suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock. Curds from the herd, and milk from the flock, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats, with the finest of the wheat, and you drank wine from the blood of the grape. But Jeshurun became prosperous and self-satisfied. You grew fat, stout, and sleek. Then he abandoned God who made him, and ridiculed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with foreign gods. With detestable acts, they angered him. They offered sacrifices to spirits that were not gods, to gods they had not known, to new gods that had recently appeared, whom your ancestors did not fear. You neglected the rock who fathered you, and you forgot the God who gave you life. The Lord saw it and rejected them, because of the provocation of his sons and his daughters. And he said, And so I will conceal my face from them. I see what their end will be, for they are a perverse generation, children in whom there is no faithfulness. They have made me jealous with what is not a god. They have angered me with their idols. So I will make them envious with those who are not a people. I will provoke them with a senseless nation. The fire is ignited by my anger, and it burns to the depths of the grave, consuming the earth and its yield, and setting ablaze the foundations of the mountains. And I will bring disasters upon them. I will exhaust my arrows on them. They shall be wasted with hunger, and consumed by plague and bitter pestilence. I will send the teeth of beasts against them, with the venom of creatures that crawl in the dust. Outside the sword shall bereave, and inside the terror, for young man and virgin alike, the nursing child with the man of gray hairs. I would have said, I will scatter them afar, I will make the memory of them vanish from among men. Had I not feared the taunt of the enemy, lest their adversaries should misunderstand, lest they should say, Our hand is triumphant, it was not the Lord who did all this. For they are a nation with no notion of counsel, and there is no understanding in them. If they possessed wisdom, they would comprehend this. They would discern their ultimate fate. How could one have chased 1,000, and two have put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had given them up, and the Lord had handed them over? For their rock is not as our rock, our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is from the vine of Sodom, and from the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are like poison, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is like the poison of serpents and the cruel venom of asps. Is this not stored up with me, sealed up in my treasuries? Vengeance belongs to me and repayment, for the time when their foot shall slip, for the day of their calamity is near, and their doom approaches swiftly. For the Lord will vindicate his people and show compassion on his servants, when he sees that their strength is gone, and there is none remaining, bond or free. Then he will say of them, where are their gods, their rock, in which they sought refuge? Who then consumed the fat of the sacrifices, and drank the wine of the drink offering? Let them rise up and help you, let them be your protection. Observe now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God beside me. I bring death and give life, I wound and I heal, and there is none that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and declare, as I live forever, if I sharpen my gleaming sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will take vengeance on my adversaries, and will repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows soaked with blood, and my sword shall consume flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captives, from the long-haired heads of the enemy. Rejoice, O nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will take vengeance on his adversaries, and will make atonement for his land and people. Moses came and spoke all the words of this song, in the hearing of the people, he and Joshua the son of Nun. And so, when Moses finished saying these words to all of Israel, he said to them, take to heart all the words by which I am warning you today, that you may instruct them to your children, that they may be careful to follow all the words of this law. For it is not an empty word for you, but your very life. And by this word you shall live long in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. On that very day the Lord spoke to Moses, go up this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, opposite Jericho, and view the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the people of Israel as a possession. And you shall pass away on the mountain you ascend and be gathered to your people, just as Aaron your brother passed away on Mount Hor, and was gathered to his people. Because you broke faith with me in the midst of the people of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, because you did not uphold me as holy in the midst of the people of Israel. In the midst of the people of Israel. For you shall see the land before you, but you shall not enter there, into the land that I am giving to the people of Israel. This is the blessing that Moses, the man of God, gave to the Israelites before he passed away. He said, the Lord came from Sinai and dawned upon them from Seir. He shone forth from Mount Paran. He came with myriads of holy ones. At his right hand there was flashing lightning for them. Indeed, it is he who loves the people. All the holy ones are in his hand. They follow in his steps and take of his words. Moses gave us the law, a possession for the assembly of Jacob. He was king in Jeshurun when the leaders of the people gathered, the tribes of Israel together. Let Reuben live and not die, nor may his people be few. And this is what he said about Judah. Hear, O Lord, the voice of Judah, and bring him to his people. With his own hands he contends for them, and may you be a help against his adversaries. Of Levi said, let your Thummim and Urim belong to your faithful servant, whom you tested at Massah, and with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah. He said of his father and mother, I have no regard for them. He did not acknowledge his brothers, or regard his own children, for they kept your word and guarded your covenant. They teach your ordinances to Jacob and your law to Israel. They offer incense before you, and whole burnt offerings on your altar. Bless his strength, O Lord, and be pleased with the work of his hands. Strike down those who rise against him, his foes, till they rise no more. Of Benjamin he said, let the beloved of the Lord dwell in safety by him, who shields him all day long, and between his shoulders he rests. Of Joseph he said, may the Lord bless his land with the precious dew from heaven above, and from the deep waters that lie below, with the best yield of the sun and the finest produce of the months, with the choicest gifts of the ancient mountains, and the bounty of the everlasting hills, with the best gifts of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwelt in the burning bush. Let these rest on the head of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. In majesty he is like a firstborn bull, his horns are the horns of a wild ox. With them he will gore the nations, even to the ends of the earth. Such are the 10,000s of Ephraim, such are the thousands of Manasseh. Of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and you, Issachar, in your tents. They will call peoples to the mountain. There they will offer righteous sacrifices. They will feast on the abundance of the seas and the treasures hidden in the sand. Of Gad he said, Blessed is he who enlarges Ked's domain. Gad lives there like a lion, tearing at arm and head. He chose the best land for himself. The reader's portion was kept for him. He came with the heads of the people. He executed the roads of justice and his ordinances with Israel. Of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's cub, leaping out from Bashan. Of Naphtali he said, Naphtali is abounding with the favor of the Lord, and is full of his blessing. He will take possession of the sea and the south. Of Asher he said, Most blessed of sons is Asher. Let him be favored by his brothers, and let him dip his foot in oil. The bars of your gates will be iron and bronze, and your strength will equal your days. There is no one like the God of Jeshurun, who rides across the heavens to your help and on the clouds in his majesty. The everlasting God is your shelter, and beneath you are his eternal arms. He will drive out your enemies before you, declaring, Overcome them. So Israel will dwell in safety. Jacob will dwell secure in a land of grain and new wine, where the heavens drop dew. Blessed are you, Israel! Who is like you, a people saved by the Lord? He is your shield and helper, and your glorious sword. Your enemies will cringe before you, and you will tread on their high places. Moses ascended from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the summit of Pisgah, opposite Jericho. The Lord showed him all the land, from Gilead to Dan, all of Naphtali, the regions of Ephraim and Manasseh, and the entire land of Judah, as far as the western sea, the Negev, and the whole area from the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, reaching to Zoar. The Lord then said to him, This is the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, declaring, I will give it to your descendants. I have allowed you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not cross into it. Thus Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, as the Lord had spoken. He was buried in a valley in Moab, opposite Beth Peor, but to this day, no one knows the location of his grave. Moses was 120 years old when he passed away, yet his eyesight was not dim, nor had his strength diminished. The Israelites mourned for Moses on the plains of Moab for 30 days, until the period of weeping and mourning for Moses concluded. Joshua, the son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom, because Moses had laid his hands on him. The Israelites heeded him, and did as the Lord had commanded Moses. No prophet has emerged in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew intimately. For all the signs and wonders the Lord sent him to perform in Egypt, against Pharaoh, all his officials, and his entire land, and for all the mighty power and all the great deeds of awe that Moses accomplished in the sight of all Israel.